work. Oh, all right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Coffee Q&A. It's Monday, November 20th, and we're back again with another, well, I guess it's going to be a half week of shows this week because, of course, if you're not watching from the United States, we are in the middle of Thanksgiving week here, and Thanksgiving is the big American holiday that happens on Thursday, the 23rd. And so everything is pretty much just kind of craziness here in America. So a lot of the people start traveling to their families. So here in America, if you're not from here, Thanksgiving is really, it's a bigger holiday than pretty much any other one, including Christmas, right? Because Christmas time, it's a big holiday, but people will stay home, right? They'll stay home with their immediate family. Mom, good to see you, man. How's everything going? But for American Thanksgiving, people will travel to other families, so extended families will come together, and it's a much bigger deal in that respect than Christmas time, and there's a lot more travel that happens. So a lot of people have probably already started traveling or taking their time off, or at least by Wednesday, it builds up into a heavy crescendo. But anyway, we're going to keep going for at least another 3 days. So how's everyone doing? How's your weekend? My weekend was pretty good. Had a good time. Did a lot of things, a lot of events. Went to, check out some spots, as well as went to places for inspiration for design, and then had a couple events to attend and to operate. Dan and Good Bald Head, how are you both? Good to see you guys. All right, so today, let's get into our topic. We're going to be talking about the AeroPress. So at some point in time in the ownership of an AeroPress, it will start to deteriorate, right? It's going to get old, you've used it a lot, or just sat around, and the effects of oxidation and all of that start to wear on the components. And the biggest component that it wears on is what they call the seal, or what we might call the plunger, or whatever you call it, but it's this black part here that will start to get tacky, it'll start to break down, it'll start to get all kinds of wonkiness. Now, this particular AeroPress model, this is the current model of AeroPress. And you can tell which is the current model of AeroPress because of the lettering, right? It's both like this kind of charcoal translucent color, but it also has the red lettering. Now, the older model before this, that no longer you can really see, but on this one, you can kind of see the old reflection, but this one is actually what was at one point gold. So these are the two most recent generations of AeroPresses that have been available. This is still the current model. And even, I think, on the current AeroPress Go, that one also has red lettering, right? So anything that has red lettering is the current generation. What does that mean? It just means that it's the most current, and it is BPA free. Now, of course, BPA's Bali, Pyrus, I forgot the name. I can't remember the name of it offhand. But BPAs have been found in plastic kind of components and have led to potential cancer-inducing problems. What's on Bald Head says the silicone seals are awesome. Yeah, that's right. So these newer ones are silicone. Oh, yeah, these newer ones are more silicone, so they're less prone to wearing out. But at some point, they'll probably wear out. We haven't used them as long as we have in the past. The old ones wore rubber. And did they put silicone on these? No, I think these are rubber. Yeah, this looks appreciably different, right? You can see this one's a little shinier with the silicone, and this is still the rubber. So those are the big things that are in the past, or kind of in the past. Now, if you really have old ones, like this one. This is, I think, is a Generation 2 AeroPress. This one is also the same generation. These are old AeroPresses that we used at the shop many, many years ago, probably about 2010 or so. The AeroPress first came out in 2005. I think we started buying AeroPresses probably around 2006 or 2005. I bought one in 2005 when it first came out because I was just curious. We actually didn't use them in a production model until 2009 into 2010, when they were part of our actual, They were part of our actual production making. So these two AeroPresses have seen probably tens of thousands of coffees made through them. These are the BPA filled ones. They're not the new AeroPress clears. And but here's the thing. So like they will get really old. Braxton's here. What's going on, Braxton? The silicones are awesome. The rubber got tacky over the years. Yeah, so here we are. I'm going to show you the tackiness, right? These are the, oops. As you can see here, there's a tackiness to it. Now this one has enough dust that's gotten on over the years that it's no longer tacky per se, but you can see how it would be tacky. And this is also shrinking, so it's getting kind of loose. But you can see here on the side, it's really kind of, getting that, I don't know, oils or whatever it is that comes from it. This one got so bad that I just took a piece of aluminum tape and covered it, because this actually, while this one was just tossed into storage, this one we actually kept on display at our first roastery. This is our second roasting space. At our first roastery, we just kind of have these kind of like, well, we had it on display as one of our old pieces. But this one, as you can see, it's definitely gotten tacky. Now, they do make replacements for that, right? So we've got this replacement from AMI, and they're basically new rubber plungers. Oops. As you can see here, AMI parts, plunger rubber espresso maker, 2-piece. So for like $7, you can get 2. It's pretty cheap. I got a link down below in the description. And as a reference, I also have a link next to that about for the AeroPress version. AeroPress makes their own, which is their sanctioned version. It's like $10 for one, or I think this is like $8 for 2. And since I had 2, I bought this one. And actually, when I bought it, I really wasn't paying that close attention. I was like, okay, I'll just buy that. I probably would have bought the official AeroPress one just to see. But this one, we'll see how that works. And as you can see down here, there's just really simple packaged, 2 in a box. And they're in plastic. Oh, they have to slide out. We'll do one first. We'll do one and then the other. Let's do this one that we already have out. So there's no real instructions with it. There's, as you can see here, if we look closely in this one, you can see it's kind of chamfered, right? And then there's like a lip underneath it. So it actually, there's a lip, so we'll catch on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this one off. Now this one, we're just going to pull. Actually, I've actually never done this. Now, they say, or AeroPress says that you should pull your silicone or rubber gasket off of your AeroPress every once in a while to get some washing. Now, this is the very first time I've ever pulled this off in the entirety of owning this thing. We're talking about an AeroPress from at least 2009. This has never been clean. Oh, it's been clean, but it's never been taken apart to be clean. And actually, I don't know if you really need to worry about it, because look at that. That is perfectly clean. So obviously obviously my staff has done a good job over the years of keeping our products clean. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this. Yeah, exactly. Nobody removes a seal, as Baldhead notes. Okay, so now let's take this. What we're going to do is I guess we're just going to squeeze it on and pull it around. And oh, well. All right, well, that was easy. So now let's see, how about fitting it to the old body? Let's take this old body here that it's for. Oh yeah, nice and snug. Like that's, oh wow, that's tighter than this one. Remember last week we had a problem with this one not being as tight during the death match, where the silicone one is perfectly fine. This one is nice and tight again. Look, you can even see how it's like pressed up against the interior diameter of the body. All right. Oh, look at that. So we've got this back in order. Well, that's ready to rock and roll. All right, let's put that aside. Let's do the next one. I think this is the old one. I don't know which is older, but you can really see, like, look at that. It's really old and like worn, and this is like OG level. Now it's a little bit sticky on the inside, So actually, what I'm going to do is I'm actually not going to, I'm going to clean this first before like, because actually I can feel the tackiness on my fingers now. So what we're going to do is I'll clean this up and do this separately. But now you've seen how to do it. So it's fairly simple, but let's have a look here while we have it to see if there's any dirt beneath the seal. Oh, actually, this seal is so hard now. Oh, wow, that's really difficult to remove comparatively. Oh, yeah, look at that. It is like totally gunked up. Wow. And I mean, not gunked up from dirt, but gunked up from whatever is breaking down in this thing. Look at it. There's so much like stuff that is, I don't know, is that oils or some kind of oiliness? It smells like, you know what it smells like? It kind of smells like old rancid cooking oil. Did this get cooking oil spilled on it somehow? I don't know. Let's see about this. See, so I put this because it was so tacky and I didn't want it. It was sticking on everything in the crate that we had it in. All right, I'm going to put this aside because we're just going to have to. That's going to take a little bit more work. Let me just wash my hands here. Try to get it a little bit clean. So, how was your guys' weekend? Anything happening interesting? I went to a debutante's ball. You know, every year about this time, this association that I work with, they have a debutante's ball where they introduce new women to society. Yeah, I know it sounds really kind of fancy and highfalutin, but sometimes I am a highfalutin soigné kind of guy. Not really, but you know what I'm saying. All right, there's still some. I'm gonna have to get some kind of like WD-40 to wash that off. But let's take our newly rejuvenated AeroPress and give it a go. Now, one of the problems with this old AeroPress is that it was in a crate for a long time, and I think the crate is somewhere down in the other part of the studios in our storage areas, but I don't remember. And so I'm going to hijack one of the newer filter holders. I'm going to use that on this old, formerly busted, but now ready as new AeroPress. Bam! This is clear, and this is AeroPress clear. This is OG AeroPress clear, right? How's that? How do you think about that? That's good. Maybe I should make a video about that. All right, so let's give it a go. We're going to go with I want to show you the normal recipe we use, the inverted method. So typically when we're doing inverted method, this is exactly the recipe that we've used in all of these AeroPresses at Spro over the years. We'll basically raise the plunger to right about the 4. This gives us the most space to work with. If you go higher, you could go higher, but now you're risking a lot of. Now you're just getting more potential for it to pop out during brewing and just causing you lots of catastrophe. So I say, go for it right about there. That's a good spot. Okay, that's going to be our thing. Let's get some coffee. Today's coffee, we're going to go away from the Peru. Are we? Oh, no, but we might as well stay with our Peru because we're going to go to do something completely different over the next couple days, including, I think we're going to taste a Timagung Liberica, purple honey processed Liberica, maybe tomorrow. So today is 99. This is our 99th episode of the Coffee Q&A. Tomorrow is supposed to be our 100th episode, and I do have a schedule, a new brewer, ceramic kind of brew-through brewer from Japan. That's what I'm planning. But then I also, because of our video that released on Saturday that finally made it out about my visit to Wanwan Coffee Roasters, I have some coffee from Wanwan, the Temanggung Liberica experimental lot. That is really a beautiful coffee. And I was thinking we'll do the type of brewing that we did, that Dawn did for me during my visit there, or at least a variation on it. But so let's go. Well, we'll stay with our Peru, the Churum Pampa. We're going to do 36 grams. So this is my typical recipe for AeroPress. 36 grams of coffee. We're going to do a pretty fine grind on this thing. Yeah, 36. Oh yeah, we're almost finished with our particular lot. So okay, let us get this going on here. I'm going to come back a little bit off of that. Okay, so now here we go. Here we go. We got our coffee ground. There it is. Look at that. Beautiful coffee. All ground up. Let's we'll put it on here and we'll just see how much water we're actually putting. I'm curious to know. I never really measure this amount of water. So, oh, we got to put the coffee in here. I always like to use the funnel because it's just so much easier. You don't necessarily need to. Like, I could simply just pour it in, but it does take a little bit more, what do you call it? A little bit more concentration and carefulness. Whereas basically you just drop it in, you just kind of done. Less things to worry about. Makes it quite a bit easier, right? So we're going to tear this scale. We also want to get our filters. I'm really sad to learn that they're no longer including this with the AeroPress. This is, I guess, going to have to be something that you can 3D print from now on. We're going to take our filter, put that in, just get that ready. Now you can do a little bit. Sometimes I will just take a little bit of water and really I'll just touch it in there, but really not because I need to rinse it up, but because I want it to stick. That's really it. Okay, now our water here is just off the boil. Let me just make sure that it's, there we go, good. Now, turn on our scale, get our timer ready. We need our stir, and let's start pouring. So I'm just going to fill it up, right? Just to about there. So we see 106, that's fine. We're just going to stir. Now, if you really want to add a little bit more to get whatever you want out of it, you can do a little bit like that. Okay, there we go. That's good. And I'd like to keep a fairly steady pace on the stirring. 27 seconds. We're almost there. $39. $45. Good. Now we're going to grab our little plunger, our container. As you can see, it's kind of fallen just a little bit, it looks like, just because of the bloom has been beaten down. And typically we'll take the glass, we'll put this on top, and then do the turnover like this, right? Let's put it back down, and then we're going to plunge. Plunge. And Baldhead says that $9.95 for the funnel on the AeroPress website. The filter holder is $9.95, and the Go filter holder is $9.95. Oh, okay, not too bad, I guess. But it's like before you used to get everything all together without extra money. So if you're adding the funnel and the filter holder for additional $20, how much more does that add? So how much does that make your? I don't know the price of the AeroPress offhand. Okay, so we've got a little bit of that fizziness you hear when you get the water. Okay, here we're going to turn this to the side so that there's our drips, right? I mentioned that before in our drips. Now, as you can see here, our total volume brewed is really concentrated. And this is ratioed for 350 milliliters of coffee. So we're going to raise our water level to that point. You can be a little bit aggressive. It's all right. There we are. Now we've got our full amount. Something about this has changed. Like on the nose, I'm getting this spiciness, this like nutmeg spiciness. That's weird. And a complete departure from what we've had over the last 2 weeks. Let's have a look at our clarity is good. Like we're seeing nice clarity here. All right, let's try. This is still fairly hot because I did use water straight from the kettle to fill the volume. So it's going to be hot. So if you do that, be careful. So in like last week, in the number of times we brewed this, we had a bunch of times when this coffee was really hot and had a very pronounced bitterness on the front end. That is back. It's kind of got this. Is it nutmeg-ish? I guess you'd say. A very savory, herbaceous character to it today. I mean, could some of that be coming off of the actual plastic of the AeroPress? I can't say. So Baldhead says the AeroPress is still $39.95, so $40. You still get the stir and the scoop included, but 100 filters instead of 360. Oh yeah, so you're like, so in order to get the equivalent AeroPress that you used to buy for like $30 or $35, I think we used to sell it for $35 before we closed our retail. You would get the filter hold. You get 360 filters, the filter holder, and the funnel included for that price. So now you have to spend an extra $20. So now if you wanted to get an AeroPress like before with all the accessories as before, you have to spend $40, $60, $80. Wow. Oh no, you have to spend $60 because it's $10 for each of the accessories. So that's a pretty significant price jump. Baldhead says, did you use the new plug with this brew? Yes, the new plunger. Well, the old plunger, new seal, right? So we are now refurbed, BPA-laden, cancer-inducing AeroPress. By the way, there's also a report. So I included a link to a Mayo Clinic report or article about what are BPAs and what are the potential problems. And then beyond that is a New York Times article, I think New York Times, about why you shouldn't really worry about it. So, you could choose whichever path you want. But I guess the question is, we're getting this nutmegish, this kind of herbaceousness to it. I wonder if that is coming from the plastic of this. We haven't had, it's a real different, it's a distinct departure from last week's experience and then the weeks before. And then, last week was a turn from the week before. And then Baldhead says, in the AeroPress, the BPA leaks out from scratches in the plastic. Oh, so we're talking about if it's like this is BPA laden. Maybe that stickiness that I'm feeling here is the BPAs coming out, and maybe BPA tastes like nutmeg. Maybe that could be it. Okay, here's a question for you. Are you getting an ad right now? I just noticed on my YouTube server thing that it just had a little pop-up that said ads inserted. So if you saw an ad and you clicked away from it or you had to sit through it, whether it was 15, 30 seconds, let me know the details of that if you can recall. I'm interested to know how ads affect the viewing experience for everyone. Okay, so there it is. So this one I'm going to have to clean up. But let's look at this now. Really, what we're here to look at Baldhead says that, oh, my guess would be that the new seals, that could be. Mom says yes. Okay. Yes, that about the BPA, or all right. Let's have a look here. Let's see, like, if there's anything to see about this. Now, as you all know, AeroPress. The nice thing about the AeroPress is that I can take this trash can and just tilt it over here, right, like this, and that's pretty much the dirt we have. I can wipe that off, right, like this, and I'm pretty much done, right? Like you can, now from here, of course, you can rinse it. Oh, Dan says, yep, I was just diverted to some ads, which I couldn't skip. Dan, do you recall how long those ads were? I'm curious to know. And then Brian says, yeah, I didn't pay attention to the ad details. Oh, so Dan received an ad that he couldn't skip, and Brian received an ad that he could skip after 5 seconds. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, and Mom's got ads too. Baldwin says, no ads, but my ad blocker is still working. Oh, okay. There is something that's going on where YouTube is trying to cut down on people using ad blockers. Louis Rossman from Louis Rossman's channel, he has some good thoughts on it. I really like what he says. And he's a creator that makes money off of YouTube, and he's very much in favor of ad blockers. And I'm a lot in favor. There's a report that said that ads that happen on the internet that people are clicking away from, there's so much energy used for those ads to show that if you conglomerated them all, it would solve like homeless or something like that. It's really an interesting and amazing thing. Okay, so Dan had about 15-second unskippable ad. Okay, thank you guys for telling me. That is very helpful. But let's look here at our results after the first plunger. That, I mean, it's basically the rubber style that we used to have on the old AeroPresses, and it still has a great seal. It worked really well. Like, I mean, it has breathed new life into this AeroPress. So, all right. Oh, here's something. I'm pulling this back. Look at what just happened. It's starting to pop out. So whatever it is, it's a little bit too, oh, there, it came out completely. Now to push it through. Okay, okay, so it's not 100%. I guess I will have to order up this one from AeroPress to see. Maybe we'll order that one up and do a comparison to see if it does pop out that easy. I mean, it feels like it wouldn't pop out that easy. Actually, I'm giving it quite a bit of force. Maybe that's an anomaly. Man, that is tight. It's tight. I haven't said that in a long time. All right, so I guess that's about it for today. One thing I should tell you that I've been thinking about, as I mentioned before, we have to vacate our premises by the end of the year. So I'm looking at new locations and spaces to move to. But I've realized, and my plan was to run everything right up to the very end, to the end of December. But I think that, now that I've had a week, just over a week to start planning things and to like assess what needs to be done, I think we'll have to suspend the daily coffee Q&A for at least maybe for the entirety of December. I'm thinking about maybe suspending it starting on with the last episode for the time being on November 30th, so that I can then focus on tearing everything down, because all of this that you see has to come out. And while I was thinking I just didn't do that in the last week, I was like, well, maybe I should just start getting it ready. But to be TBD, to be determined. But that may be what happens. Just I want to give you guys a heads up. But the plan is to, even if we tear it all down, I plan to resume at the very latest after the new year. Even if we're broadcasting from home. I mean, most YouTubers work from home. I haven't had to do that. I've been very blessed over the last few years of doing YouTube that I've had space to actually work out of. But we may do that for a little while in the interim, because a lot of the places that I'm talking to right now, they will not be able to deliver a space to us by the end of the year. It's going to probably be maybe one of the spaces that we're looking at. Hopefully it'll be first part of the year. sometime in the first quarter. And then the other project that I'm thinking about, we're thinking about doing, won't actually happen until probably the second quarter of the year. So there's going to be a little bit of fluctuation. But I'll keep you guys updated as we get closer to that point, and as everything becomes more in focus. All right. So that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. Thank you very much for tuning in. The AMI plunger replacement, actually, on our first look, okay, so it does kind of, that's weird. It's like it won't come out if I'm pulling it, but if I'm pulling it out of this, it will come out, or it starts to come out again. But overall, if you want to breathe new life into an old AeroPress, the AMI is a pretty good choice. $9.95, was it $7.95 or $8.95 for two, whereas the AeroPress will be $10 for one. But I think what we're gonna do is probably get one at some point, get the AeroPress version, and go head to head and see how they compare. All right, so that's pretty much it for today. Thank you, Mom. Good to see you. Brian, Dan, Baldhead, good to have all of you guys with us. Mom, as always. And back again tomorrow with I think tomorrow we're gonna do the 100th episode with our porcelain. It's a stone brewer, and then on Wednesday, right before Thanksgiving, we'll do the coffee from 1-1. All right, so until next time, hope you have a great one, and see you then.